Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check out these headlines this morning. No Regrets is going to tell us why the market is booming a bit here. We're also going to hear about the SEC crypto war continues. Now a sneak attack on DeFi, ladies and gentlemen. We're also going to hear breaking. The SEC will produce documents to Ripple. We'll talk about it. An XRP price target met, now confirming our journey to $13 plus. We'll get that and so much more. Somebody rolled a beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow me on Twitter at Dig Perspectives at the top of the screen, and everything that we're talking about here today. Take a look at this. $2.158 trillion market cap. There is a lot of money back in the market, even though we're not near the all-time high for crypto market cap. We are up 1.25% this morning. Good morning. It is March 29, 2022. Bitcoin right now at 47,800 plus and looking strong, and so is Ethereum at 3,400 plus. We see right now XRP is holding its own at 88 cents this morning. Look at the price range very quickly here. 86 cents on the bottom and 91 cents on the top was a key point, a price target to hit. We'll get into that before we leave the video. Take a look at this, ladies and gentlemen. If you're not aware, there is a special going on right now, limited time offer and limited supply. One of these times, it will be the last time that you will be able to get private equity of Ripple. Link2 is airdropping $1,000 in XRP to every Link2 member who invests in the company. Ripple using their Uphold wallet. The promo starts tonight, March 29th, so it's already on. Started just a few hours ago. Make sure you get yours. It ends tomorrow at midnight Pacific time. Excuse me. Excuse me. That snuck up on me there. All right, let's take a look at this. The bond market is flashing a warning sign a recession may be coming. Now, we just heard from Raoul Pal yesterday, who said the same thing with the information that he shared. I tell you, we all need to make sure we're taking the steps to prepare ourselves. You know, I'm trying to as much as I can, and I hope all of you are as well. And why is the crypto market moving of late here? I mean, I'm not upset about it, but we always try to look to find the reasons. What is moving the market? Who is moving the market? Let's listen to this from Mike Novogratz, of all people, and see what he says.
To say that Bitcoin bounced off 33,000 or 34,000 a couple of times since the war began, we've seen that happen. I'd hesitate to say that is that long-term support. Is that long-term support? What is long-term with Bitcoin?
Listen,
where are we right now?
You know, early in the year, I thought we would be 30,000, 50,000. But I also thought stocks would be a little softer than they are. And I think, you know, maybe what I got wrong was with all this selling in fixed income, that money's got to go somewhere. We certainly see increased adoption in crypto. I mean, Janet Yellen pivoted and was much more friendly to crypto.
You heard that too, huh? Yeah.
Than she'd ever been. That's basically, you know, politicians listening to their constituents and getting to the president. And so there was no magic there. There was, you know, I'm getting calls from senator after senator. Hey, can you help educate? Can you help me figure this out? And so I think people have realized crypto is really popular, and I think you're going to see the Democrats take a softer stance. I mean, it was very interesting in that, you know, presidential decree. There was no Elizabeth Warren or Gary Gensler voice in that thing, and they had been running kind of crypto policy until then. And so I think that's a positive. But mostly we're just seeing adoption. You know, states saying they'll take taxes, countries, you know, participating, sovereign wealth funds getting involved, pension funds getting involved. And so, you know, we're still early in this adoption cycle. And so I'm much more optimistic than I was even, 6-7 weeks ago.
Well, I tell you, he makes some very good points in there talking about Janet Yellen, the Democrats softening a bit, and I perceive that as the banks must be very close to being ready, because I believe it is the lobby money from the banks behind the politicians that have had this wall and this big barrier saying we don't want it, but now they're softening. Look, of all people, I highlight, Jay Clayton said it when he was the actual SEC chairman, believe it or not. You can't stop the tech. You have to embrace it or it will innovate around you. The banks understand this as well as anyone. Take a look right here, because this is kicking up some stuff around the crypto space here. And we need to know about this because this is Chris Larson, not Ripple. Chris Larson on his own, co-founder of Greenpeace, if you didn't know. Last year, he wrote an op-ed, and we covered it here, calling for Bitcoin to consider a move away from proof of work to a low-energy validation method. Today, he's sharing an update on how his thinking has evolved on this front. I want to share that with you. Let me see. Yeah, and I have the thread right here. It's very quick. He says, while I still believe moving to a low-energy consensus mechanism is most climate-friendly long-term solution, I recognize it's no easy feat. Today, U.S. hosts 40% of the hash rate to Bitcoin. Climate-conscious miners like the ones mentioned there strive to use 100% renewables and responsible actors shutting off power when grids are overloaded. I applauded their efforts. On the other hand, plenty of miners are repurposing old coal and gas plants and not being responsible stewards of the amount of power they are increasingly using, jacking up energy bills for residents, sucking power from the grid regardless of overload. This is unacceptable, he says. The time for change is now. As a prominent capital market participants drive crypto liquidity, ESG and sustainability will only become more front and center. Second largest market cap for now, recognized this early on and is very close to switching to proof of stake. We need short-term solution as well. Even if we move away from proof of work, happen eventually, Bitcoin is and will remain hugely important for crypto globally. Bitcoiners, I know many of you may not believe this, but I'm not trying to work against you here. Today's crypto industry is blessed with incredible talent, unlimited capital, and is on a mission to make the world better. I truly believe it can turn this climate problem into a solution. What if miners were incentivized to remove carbon from the atmosphere? Miners pledging 100% green energy use is a great start, but in my opinion, not a foolproof long-term solution because of proof of work simply incentivizes finding the cheapest energy, not what is the right thing to do. What's to stop a petrostate like Russia from liquidating fossil fuel reserves? So even the responsible players there will always be incentivized to seek out the greatest amount of cheapest power if renewable prioritized wanted and fossil fuels not. Could suddenly turn the latter into subsidized cheap energy source. If you read this far, thanks. I've spent a year and a half thinking about possible solutions and invested nearly $90 million into climate change fighting efforts, everything from green hydrogen, EVs, and carbon capture. Lastly, he wants to emphasize that the efforts are his alone. While I'm still chairman of Ripple, the company is not involved in this campaign. On that note, apologies to Ripple, to the comms team. This is his alone. Now, Bitcoin Magazine has put out an article really calling out Ripple, which this is really Chris Larson's effort himself. Now, this is Ryan Selkis from Asari taking a shot here, but this is where I have a problem with it. Ryan Selkis says, Chris Larson, who in a just society would be in jail for the bad faith investor misrepresentations he and his team made regarding their XRP sales, is spending money attacking the industry that created his ill-gotten multi-billion-dollar fortune. Judas, Ryan Selkis says. And listen, I don't like to see this infighting. I mean, I really don't. But this is really a question, and it's a serious question, and I hope he doesn't block me, and I hope he answers it, and we try to have a sensible conversation, because I asked the 2-bit idiot, I don't like to see crypto infighting when the SEC is the true enemy. But Ryan, please help me understand your silence to Joseph Lubin's teaching to disguise identities as sound business and regulatory approach, and how you as a lawyer justify your righteousness to XRP. You know, I really don't understand these people's stance. We noted this video, and I'm not going to play it because we got to get through a lot of information, is where Joseph Lubin specifically cites how you can disguise your identities as a whale investor. And I believe that that is the key evidence that shows, a smoking gun, if you will, that a small number of people created fake identities to make Ethereum look like it was more decentralized than it actually was. Right here, and again, to my point, the SEC is the real enemy towards crypto here. It's a new proposal by the SEC, aims to redefine what it means to be a securities dealer, ladies and gentlemen, a move industry experts say could cripple the decentralized finance industry. Take a look here very quickly. It says right here, the 200-page proposal basically says crypto lawyers have sounded the alarm on Twitter, calling the proposal an all-out shadow attack on decentralized finance. Gabriel Shapiro, general counsel at crypto research from Delphi Digital, tweeted that if the proposal is accepted and the rule enforced, it could kill the tech. The proposal would bring all automated market makers, AMMs, and liquidity providers with more than $50 million in total assets under management under the SEC's regulatory umbrella, and thus subject to SEC's registration requirements, something that would be impossible for many, if not all, decentralized exchanges. Any decentralized exchange that fits the new criteria under the proposal and that didn't register with the SEC could then, Shapiro argued, be declared an unregistered dealers, and which is a felony offense under securities law. This is a huge, huge problem to try to get this new technology. Sneak attack here. The inclusion of crypto as a single footnote in the massive proposal has seen by some lawyers as a deliberate attempt to add confusion and uncertainty into the crypto markets, which is exactly what Gary Gensler has done. Attempts to bring regulatory clarity to the industry have stalled, leaving the SEC primarily regulate through enforcement. In a healthy rulemaking process, we wouldn't have to guess at the SEC's intent or its underlying goals, says Jake Travinsky, head of policy at Blockchain Association. Well, there's Jake, who thought he'd never be in the crosshairs because he never has come to the official support and aid of John Deaton and 66,000 XRP holders and investors in the crypto space. But now that he's under fire, he wants everyone to join the fight. Think I'm playing? Grayscale's not playing. Grayscale may go so far as to file a lawsuit against the SEC, is how bad this has gotten, if the latter does not approve its Bitcoin spot ETF. This is from CEO Michael Sonishin, said the option was on the table in an interview with Bloomberg. Things are really, really coming to a head here, and I believe this is why you're going to see the Treasury come in, even though we see Congress continue to introduce bill after bill after bill, which never becomes law. Isn't it tiring? Congressional representatives have introduced a bill that we covered yesterday, but very quickly here, that bill calls upon the Treasury to prepare a digital dollar e-cash, not the Federal Reserve. E-cash is meant to preserve privacy and operate without needing access to the internet. It all sounds great to me. You know, we just need to see the final proposal before we get too excited. Here's something to actually get a little excited about, though. In Australia, just like much of the world has no issue with crypto, they have clearly defined what it is and what it isn't, except here in the United States. Australia crypto exchange BTC Markets, let us not forget, Caroline Bowler and BTC Markets are an on-demand liquidity Ripple partner. And they have partnered with MasterCard to allow its customers to make direct debit, prepaid, or credit card payments to purchase cryptocurrencies from the platform. More money flowing into an ODL corridor is what I'm seeing. Right here, breaking news, everybody. The SEC will produce documents to Ripple tomorrow. Tomorrow. You know, you don't want to hear me saying. But the reality here is the SEC will produce documents to Ripple tomorrow. I want to give you this right here. Per the direct, SEC has been mandated to produce the redacted documents for defendant's assessment by tomorrow, March 30th. In a motion filed by Ripple last week, the company noted that once it receives the copies of redacted documents, it will analyze and determine whether the SEC needs to conduct any redaction to the documents, which I'm sure they will. With the court mandating the SEC to produce redacted documents for Ripple analysis, the defendant's response is expected to be filed on or before April 4th, now 2022. The lawsuit, which has lasted more than a year and a half, appears to be gearing up for its end, as indicated by Ripple in a recent court filing. So there we have that. So this is getting very, very interesting right here. So we will keep you up to date on it. Now, talk about keeping up to date. Let's keep up to date on price. Dark Defender told us we were confirmed a little late, like 9 days, but the target achieved, talking about the 91 cents that we hit with XRP price. He says, I will also confirm the $13 because of that. And basically saying also, don't forget that we still have a market that moves up and down, just like this chart is right here. So we know it's not a straight shot. It never is. Well, sometimes, but very rarely. But looking right here, he reminds us, even though we hit that 91 cents to our target, at this point, we know the above this area has mid resistance at 106, and then we target 126. Supports on the lower side, should we see that retracement happen, right here starts back at 78 cents. Patience is the key, says Dark Defender. And so do I, but it's not financial advice from me or anyone else. It's just my digital perspectives. Before we get out of here, here's one more digital perspectives. You guys know I love working with them, and I use them all the time. It's I Trust Capital. The only thing better than buying crypto is buying tax-free crypto. And that's exactly what I do with I Trust Capital. Make sure you check that out and all the other links underneath the video, and I'll catch all of you on the next one.